Hi and Assalamualaikum everyone. Happy good day. My name is Siti Noreha binti Matno. Will be present to all of you my research study. The title of my study is a review on adsorption of heavy metals ions onto coffee ground and mixed tea waste as adsorbent. A little bit introduction on my research. From previous study recently, there has been considerable interest in the using of coffee ground and mixed tea waste as low-cost adsorbent and green chemistry adsorbents. Researchers shown an expanding applicability of both waste in the wastewater treatment. Coffee ground and tea waste are known as byproducts biomass produced in considerable quantities worldwide. Food industry, agriculture, aquaculture, medicine, cosmetics are indicatively some of the industry that discharge significant quantities of toxic substances through their wastewater. Not to mention, metal industry, plating, batteries are also one of the contributors to the release of hazardous substances through wastewater. So in this review, we will examine the performance of both adsorbents in removal of various heavy metals ion in wastewater by using adsorption technique. We will mainly focus on their characteristic biosorption performance and modeling equilibrium of biosorption, which is isotherms. Even though coffee and tea waste has been known to become as a potential adsorbents, however, they need to be improved in terms of regeneration and reusable adsorbents in the adsorption process. As water is the main source in society as drinking water and domestic usage in daily life, hence it is important for us to prevent water source from contaminated. The failure of managing heavy metal waste may create major environmental risks. If it was not properly managed, those heavy metals will be enters our body via breathing, drinking, eating, or even skin contact, which may cause to fatality or even worse. In fact, coffee and tea waste also can cause to global warming if it not disposed properly, as coffee and tea waste being produced in tons of waste every year. Thus, we can use it as an alternative cheap adsorbent in large-scale operation. Thus, it is beneficial to many industry and parties to use both waste as adsorbents because it is more economical and less pricey compared to the other adsorbent in the market. In addition, it is one of the ways to reduce environmental pollution from hazardous substances and global warming issue. The objective of this study are to study two types of adsorbent from coffee ground and mixed tea waste samples. Second, to discuss on the physicochemical properties of two adsorbents in terms of effectiveness. And third, to study the adsorption isotherm of the equilibrium relationship between heavy metals and the adsorbent. And now we look on to the mechanism of adsorption. Step 1, where the adsorbate being introduced and diffused onto the surface of adsorbent. And second step is the migration of adsorbate into the pores of the adsorbent. And third step, the monolayer adsorbate being built up and bind with the molecules to remove the contaminant molecules. So we focus tea and coffee as adsorbents. So tea waste. The main structure components in tea is lignocellulose, which is formed by lignin, cellulose, and hemicellulose to make it stable structure. It is rich in highly functional nature compounds which renders the excellent adsorption properties. The available surface functional groups is an anchor to hold on heavy metals ion along the process. A study by Churchill in 2019 showed tea waste have a mesoporous structure and smooth surface with agglutinatives. From the FTIR analysis, numerous functional groups present which give information on the mechanism of heavy metals absorption. OH stretching and alkenes CH stretching are the functional group found during the analysis. In contrast, study by Ahsan showed tea waste that undergo sulfonation process tend to have high pollutants adsorption capacity is because its negative surface charge on the surface of adsorbent. The presence of sulfur causes rough surface on the particles, which is related to the extensive sulfonation process. Apart from that, tea waste successfully can be used as an alternative adsorbent for heavy metals removal. Previous study shown tea waste is an effective adsorbent for heavy metals removal, especially for chromium and lead in large population scale. From the result, around 85% of heavy metals being removed by using tea waste as adsorbent. As in coffee ground, a study by Churchill on characteristics of ground coffee revealed it majority contains carbon and oxygen. Only 2.5% are known to be the other atomic components in coffee ground. From the study, there is smooth and thin layer surface before adsorption process. Then it turned to be a shiny and coarse surface after the adsorption process. Same goes to the coffee ground. It is also have numerous functional groups, which may give good possibility for heavy metals to be adsorbed. The more functional groups implies on the surface, the more probability for heavy metals being adsorbed onto the surface. From the previous study, untreated coffee ground gives good adsorption capacity in removal heavy metals, which shows the potential for effluent treatment process. However, significant quantity of lead being removed from wastewater when coffee ground with seed activated being used. In isotope part, we divided into 3 isotopes. First is Freundlich isotope, second is Langmuir isotope, and third is BET isotope. For Freundlich isotope, it usually to be used to present the nonlinear adsorption process, which in many studies, Freundlich isotope will apply to explain the multi-layer adsorption on heterogeneous surface. Similarly to the Langmuir isotope, which this model usually represent in the case solid adsorption in nonlinear and linear models. An irregular shape and non-uniform shape also can be used to explain by using this model. For BET isotope, theoretically it been used for multi-layer physical of adsorption. It applied the calculation for the specific area and pore size distribution of porous material. In conclusion, the widespread ability and the ease which ground coffee and tea waste can be obtained combined with attractive physical-chemical characteristics make it a potential replacement for commercially used adsorbents. But the limitation of this study were reusability of the adsorbent usage and its disposal currently not critically evaluated by some other research. Therefore, that will be the end of my presentation, and thank you for listening.